What's going on, guys, in the works, and welcome to Gulf of Oman TDM, which I like to coin the most frustrating TDM map in the entire game. And I kid you not, I actually stand behind that statement because there's not a map that I find more frustrating on TDM than this map. Gulf of Oman is all about shuttling you back into this corner, and for whatever reason, you always spawn back here, and there's only two ways out. You can either run through the Forbidden Zone, or you can run out the Death Alley over here to the left, which you saw me think about going out, then thought better of it. So more times than not, when you spawn back here, you just get trapped. And when you're finally out of this, you've got idiots up in the buildings who you can't see. You've got all sorts of different angles and lines of sight that you can get shot from. So typically I don't like playing this map on TDM, but a bunch of my buddies were in here playing. I'm sure you'll recognize more than a handful. There's quite a few people actually in this game, but you'll probably notice that I'm using my handy dandy MG36, which a lot of people have been asking about lately. They're like, hey, do a video on this. And surprisingly enough, I've actually done a video on it not that long ago. A couple months back, I did an underused weapons on this particular light machine gun. I talked about how it's kind of one of the most versatile LMGs in the game because it's the blend of the magazine fed and the belt feds in my eyes, because you can get those high capacity a lot of people like to call this the penis gun because it looks like, I mean, I'll leave that to your imagination. Just look at the magazine, you'll get the idea. But it's got a high capacity magazine. It's been through a lot of changes though, because if you remember the MG36, you used to have extended mags, then you didn't have extended mags. Now you have extended mags again. Now you have heavy barrels. So there's a lot of options you can actually use on this weapon, which I think makes it pretty versatile. I mean, it shoots a lot like an assault rifle, basically. I mean, it's just a glorified assault rifle in my eyes to begin with. So it's actually one of my favorite LMGs back on the console days. When I used to play on Xbox, I used to use this a ton because it was just, it pretty much bailed you out of bad situations where a lot of the LMGs just couldn't do that. I mean, it's got a pretty solid fire rate. I think it fires, 750 rounds per minute? So that's pretty good. I mean, if you're on target, you can usually compete with most assault rifles. And I spawned back here in the alley of death again. But luckily, I'll be the one bringing the death this go around, and I actually do finally escape out of there. But you see what I mean? If you run out of this alley, more times than not, you're going to run into like other people spawning right there, which usually results in you dying. So that's why I don't like this map. It's a very frustrating map. But back on topic, yeah, I used to use this a lot when I played on the Xbox, and it just seemed to work for me. It just seemed to be that LMG that was good in all situations. It got the job done. If you put extended mags on it and you bipod up, a lot of times you can hold down an area just as good with the MG36 that you could ever do with any of the belt feds. So that's why I enjoyed using it. But back on the topic of consoles, a lot of you guys have been asking me, what my next gen plans are. I did a video talking about my thoughts on the Xbox One versus the PS4, and honestly, I'm more intrigued in the PS4. But recently I took the plunge and I have decided to go next gen. And I know you're asking yourself, okay, which one did you pre-order, Xbox One or PS4? Well, none of the above. I actually talked about this on Twitter last night, and a lot of you guys are making fun of me, but I actually got a Wii U. And this is my confession. I bought a Wii U. I know a lot of you guys are probably laughing right now, but there was some logic behind this madness that is my purchase of the Wii U. But when I think about consoles, I need a console that does something that my PC can't. Because obviously I can play a lot of the mainstream games on my PC. I've invested a lot of money in my PC, so it'd be kind of foolish to buy a PS4 to play Battlefield 4. I mean, if you're a console guy, obviously it makes more sense. But me being a PC guy, having a nice brand new spanking new PC, there was really no point for me to invest in a PS4, at least at this point. So I actually got a Wii U because there's a lot of great Nintendo games that I love. I mean, Nintendo's always been a game company that I've enjoyed everything they do. And I typically always buy the new Nintendo consoles, even when I had my nice PC, even when I still played on Xbox, just because those games that's the only place you can play those games. I mean, if you're a fan of like Zelda, Mario type games, that's the only place that you can do those particular games. So it made sense for me. I sat down and thought about it, and I was like, I'd been thinking about a Wii U for a while because I'm a huge Pikmin fan. And I know you guys are probably laughing, but that is a really awesome game. I used to play that a ton when I was a kid. And it's a very strategic game. I feel like when you're playing Pikmin, it's one of the most satisfying games there is out there because it's the nice combination of being stressed out, at least in the first one, because if you didn't reach the time before the rocket took off fast enough, you would die, and all your little Pikmin that you had sacrificed to get to your cause would die as well. So it was kind of like, man, these guys have been out there laying their lives down for me, and I can't let them down. So I've always been a huge fan of Pikmin. I think it's a very strategic game, and it's one of those games that's entertaining and thought-provoking at the same time because you're always thinking about your next move, and you can always give yourself silly challenges. Like when I was playing through like the first game for probably like my 10th time. I decided to try to do it without letting any of my Pinkmen die. So it's quite challenging. It's a fun game, but that's ultimately what drove me to buy the new console. I was like, okay, Wii U, I've got some GameStop gift cards that I can use towards one, so I picked one up. And I'm pretty satisfied with my purchase. There's not a ton of games on it though. That's its biggest weakness right now. But hopefully here in the the near future, they're going to be pushing out a lot of new titles, and it's something that was more of a purchase of like, okay, I want to play these games, not based off like, oh, it's better than PS4 or Xbox One. So that kind of clarifies that. I know a lot of you guys are asking me on Twitter, it's like, why on earth would you buy that? I'm just a big Nintendo fan, guys. I own a 3DS as well. I've talked about that in another video, and there's just a lot of games I want to play on it. So I was actually telling Daniel Matros when I was doing the charity live stream with him earlier this week, I was like, hey, you should totally bring Battlefield 4 to the Wii U. I mean, think about Commander on the Wii U tablet. Wouldn't that be awesome? I don't think he was intrigued as I was, because a lot of people view the Wii U as just this like weak, feeble console, which it may be true. It's not the most powerful console out there, but it is innovative, and that's what I like about Nintendo. They're always pushing the bar. They're not just trying to put out this powerhouse machine. But ultimately, this game is winding down. I had switched into some Karkan here where I was playing with Mantis. MG36 is a fun weapon if you're looking for some tips and tricks, because I always hate to leave you guys in the dark when I'm talking about some of my loadouts. Throughout most of this video, I was using either the flash suppressor, heavy barrel, and a couple of times I was using the laser sight. So if you're wondering why I don't use extended mags is the easy way out. I was fooling around with some of the more fun attachments and mixing things up a little bit. So typically that's what I run on my MG36 unless I'm planning on going on Metro, in which case a lot of times I will put on the extended mags. But if you missed my past videos, here's a chance to catch up, and don't make fun of me for buying a Wii U. Peace.